I love what you guys are talking about. Well, one of the things about trading that we try and talk about, and we just did it in our webinar last night, which was beautiful. We had 500-600 people. It was amazing. Just is the discipline, right? There's 80% of people who try and day trade fail, right? It's just the bottom line. And so it's a really simple, the difference between those who fail. You would think it's a big deal. It's just a matter of discipline and consistency and following the rules, right? And there are people who do it consistently, who do it, with that discipline, and it makes a big difference. It's like, taking profits when you can and not doing all this. It's all anybody, as David always says, anybody can be taught to hit a button to get in and out. It's what you do when you get into the trade. Yeah. Right. And so it's like being up $200 on a trade and then thinking it's going to the moon and not taking a profit when you can and going to get a coffee and come back. And, it's now suddenly it's a loser. Right. So, people always wonder and they love to blame everybody else than themselves for these situations. People have to accept responsibility for what they're doing. Right. And then move on. If I'm blaming 100%. The market maker or this or the big whales, everybody's out to get me. I'm just a little guy. That's BS. That's not getting you anywhere.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And then Peter, I'm going to digress here for a little bit. I came across a YouTube short where some young individual got your attention outside of the stock exchange and was asking you about wealth and money and all of this. And you said one of your biggest pieces of advice to younger people is that they don't buy things and that they instead invest. And I got to say, Peter, I had a smile from ear to ear when I saw that, because this is something that I struggled with when I was younger that thankfully I was able to teach myself. Some of my friends, some of my colleagues, they don't learn this. And I just love seeing that there. So I know, we're talking about market dynamics and stuff like that here, but I'm a huge proponent of having people get on the investment train as early as possible. And when I saw you tell this young gentleman, stop buying things and instead take that money and invest it.
So the line is actually not my line. I learned it from a young market maker here on the floor named Fabian. He used to say, invest in stocks, not stuff.
We're the greatest consumer. Thank you.
Right. We're the greatest consumer generation in the world. We just love buying stuff. We've got closets full of stuff that the minute we buy them, they go down in value. And at the end of the day, there's that old line that, think about it. We always, if the Apple phone 15 comes out and there's nothing wrong with our Apple phone 14, but we have to have the next thing. If people change their mindset and instead of buying that next phone, maybe they buy a couple shares of Apple stock. If they had done that in the beginning, they probably would have a nice portfolio in Apple like Dave does, as opposed to like a drawer with 15 old Apple phones in it. So it's just it's a mental state of creating a legacy and trying to create a portfolio as a bunch of as opposed to stuff. So that's one of the things when I speak to younger people about the markets. I can't tell them what to buy, but I can tell them that they don't need to buy things that the minute they buy it, they go down in value. There is a possibility if you were to buy things. Look, we love people like Nikes, people like Apple, people, the younger people they're very loyal, right? We are loyal consumers to things that we like. Now, every one of those things is actually a publicly traded company. So as if we sort of put on hold that urge to have the next thing, right? And maybe just think for a minute and then maybe invest in that company that we love so much that makes this thing that we got to have, then you know what? We're building something long-term as opposed to just having a dirty old pair of sneakers.
Yeah. So. Amen to that. Thank you for doing that. I know you have a much bigger footprint than myself, but that's something that I try to do all of the time. I really, really appreciate that. That's really good stuff.
But I wish I had known it because I got a closet full of stuff.
Me too. Me too.